back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
This is Boomer Life on CL 650. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today we're speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services. And we're speaking to the benefit of taking the time to review your finances, whether you're single or with a partner, and for those of you with children, talking about it with your family. Jim, I think we all have certain expectations that we don't even realize we have, and understanding why having a plan to hit your goals is vitally important. It's encouraging to hear from a professional that even if you and your significant other or your kids have totally different money perspectives, you can actually learn to reduce financial conflict and take steps to ensure financial harmony and enhance financial literacy. Money is a really tough issue to talk about for a lot of people, and I'd like to get past a lot of the cliches, but we hear a lot about how hard it is for parents to talk to their millennial children about money or to try to educate them. I'm sure you've heard this before.
I met with a client recently who had a hard time saying no to his kids, and I think a lot of parents are in the same boat. It was clear that he wanted to help the kids out. Truth is, we're seeing more and more families where the parents are postponing their own retirements in an effort to help the kids out. Clients are coming to us, they're seeking a game plan on how they can make this work.
So how do you help parents have these conversations with their kids?
Well, Joanne, it's a tough conversation when you have to tell a parent that they can't afford their intended generosity. What is apparent is the desire to help, but they're really looking for some things that they can change so that they can make the choices that they want, and we want to help them see the impact of the choices that they're trying to make.
Sort of that big picture about their financial future. So why is it important for parents to speak with their kids about money?
It's important to speak with your kids about money in order to develop their awareness and understanding around financial matters. These are lifelong skills which will give them a leg up for the rest of their lives.
Well, I heard a story recently of a very young child, a 3-year-old, playing an electronic game on her dad's cell phone, right? So she asked for his password, and the request, of course, seemed very innocent, and dad passed along the password. And then the dad got a bill in the mail for something his daughter had actually ordered on the iPhone, or when she was using his phone. So it seems like the game that the child was playing and PayPal were actually linked, and the dad ended up paying dearly. So clearly, the 3-year-old did not understand what she was doing, and the dad didn't even know that she was doing it. I've actually heard this story more than once.
It's never too early to start the money conversations. What is key is tailoring their message to the age of the individuals involved and understandings of them.
Well, that's a very good point. Age-appropriate discussions. But like you said, you can start early.
I know my parents or grandparents never had to address issues like these, and I feel it only adds to the long list of new quandaries that didn't even exist a few decades ago.
So we have new challenges to address that never existed before, and one of the biggest ones is technology, of course. So how do we communicate from different foundations when we're coming at it from a different place?
It's a great question, and I might be able to answer it with an example. Every generation has its own slang and its own values. If you're over 25, the term YOLO might mean nothing to you, okay? And that basically stands for you only live once. This carpe diem sentiment has been around in some form since the late 18th century. Comedian Joe E. Lewis, said it best in the 50s. You only live once, but if you work it right, once is enough. Today, YOLO has developed a backlash, with many millennials seeing it as a carefree tag to explain an impulsive choice.
This is great. So it's against this backdrop that we might want to look at some of the priorities of the millennials, understanding first that they do want value for their money and that their money decisions likely say something about their personalities as well.
Holidays, travel remain as desirable as ever, but so is retiring early. One of the challenges is that it's hard to save for retirement when you feel your salary is low or you don't have enough money.
So we're seeing a generation that likes character-enhancing experiences that can take priority over other areas of life.
I don't want to suggest that I'm an expert on this subject, but we're talking about those born after 1980 who are part of the digital age. They're very familiar with social media, and they're likely to have huge numbers of followers and friends on Facebook. They become their own marketing gurus with strong opinions. They don't want to be led around by the nose and likely want to make their own decisions.
Yes, they clearly want to do their own thing. And we do hear this one a fair bit. So how can we help get the conversation started with those from this generation, this millennial generation?
In order to get a conversation started, it's important to understand that your kids might see things differently and from different perspectives and different priorities. A recent credit card company survey showed that almost a third of millennials would rather have 2 years of fabulous experiences rather than own a home. If you're speaking to millennials with your perspectives and priorities, it's quite possible you could be speaking at cross purposes.
Yeah, you're talking apples and oranges here. So for parents of millennial children, a common refrain might be that the kids just need to save a little more and to save a little longer.
Well, I have to include myself in this, but your perspectives on retirement and millennial perspectives on retirement, they might not be the same. We know traditional thinking has it that you just need to save more if you want to retire early, but I think I'm hearing that for this generation, if it aligns with their goals, they might be willing to give up on some other things to make early retirement happen.
Do you have any examples of that?
Well, according to a national e-bank survey, 59% of millennials surveyed said they would only go out once a week to socialize with friends in order to retire before age 65. 47% said that they would give up on takeout food and cook all their meals in order to retire before 65.
Interesting sacrifices. I think it actually speaks a lot to how millennials think and maybe what they value.
And it doesn't stop there. The survey continued that over a quarter of millennials would work 50-plus hour work weeks for the remainder of their working careers to retire in their 50s. And here's the one that surprised me the most. 43% said they would give up all forms of social media to retire before age 50.
Well, Jim, I think it's safe to say that I know a little bit more about millennials, and maybe our listeners do too, than before we started our show today. But I have to ask you, what is the risk for parents who aren't talking to their kids about money management and investing?
Rising debt levels for both parents and millennials alike delay financial independence, offer greater financial reliance for longer on parents, offer the perspective that inheritances will go to consumptive lifestyles rather than for legacy purposes.
I don't think legacy even is included in their vocabulary. But Jim, you mentioned earlier about a multi-generational approach to money management. Can you actually give us a few ideas of what that might look like?
Absolutely. We actively woo the second generation of clients to become clients themselves. And we've got a couple of different reasons why we do that. Many of the larger institutions just won't give the time or attention to smaller clients like they deserve. We do. And this is how our approach is different. Now, there's also some other things that we do in our practice, which again are a little bit different. We want to look after the needs of everybody in the family, not just the parents or the grandparents. One of the phrases, we heard from one of our competitors who've attempted to build multi-generational practices is, this is Dad's advisor. Obviously, they didn't connect. Okay, and we want to change that. So I've recently hired a millennial associate who is similar to her to their age. And I got to give a shout out here. Anybody who's met Paige, okay, what a phenomenal person she's going to be in this practice. Okay, one of the goals that we've got is to help adult children learn how to invest family funds. Nothing beats actual experience. And we often see parents and kids separately, but we also schedule regular meetings with the whole family.
These are some great examples, Jim, and thanks for the shout out for Paige as well. We've all met Paige at CL 650, and we look forward to more of her contributions to this show because I think she will bring a youthful insight to help us understand some of the things and some of the examples that you've brought up about talking to our kids and the right way to do that. This is Boomer Life on CIAL 650. Today we're speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. And if this sounds like something you can actually relate to or even benefit from, you have an opportunity to access the expertise and orientation to make these conversations happen. All you have to do is call Jim and his team to see how they might be able to help you. Here's the number, 604-682-5431. Next up, we're going to be looking at actionable ways to successfully alleviate and manage finances. Those who manage money stress most effectively, they don't do it alone. Start 2016 off on the right foot. There's more to come with Jim Doyle. That's next on Boomer Life on CIAL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIAL 650.